Are we doing recent purchases or no?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Sure.
We got a lot of stuff to show.
All right, well, you first, because I always go first. So
No, it doesn't matter.
Well, this
who's
week I've
first.
got nothing. My Thin Lizzie's
nothing.
over there. I'm not going to go grab it. Anyway.
all right,
nothing? All right. Well, I got a lot of stuff. Go ahead, Lou. I'll let you go first.
all right.
Please,
Well,
we insist.
we'll do. Well, two things I want to show. Wayne, I think you'll like this. So I mentioned to you that I just got this off Discogs, and it came in.
Yes. Look at that.
Michael Kiskade's first solo album.
Very cool.
Michael
Who's
Kiskade
this?
Halloween.
From Halloween.
Oh,
Instant.
so I didn't
Michael-
even know he made solo albums.
yeah,
he did,
has,
and-
4, I think.
And the significance of this, it reunites him with Kai Hansen, his former and current bandmate in Halloween, and the leader of Gamma Ray, but also a certain lead guitar player of Iron Maiden actually contributes his playing to a couple of songs on this, Mr. Adrian Smith, my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, Wayne, I don't know if you knew this or not.
No.
Charlie Bauerfiend is the producer on this.
I know. What happened? Sounds so much better on that album.
You're not a fan of the recent production. I get it.
No.
I wanted to show you that. And also, this came in the mail today. Oddly enough, we're talking about it today.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Oh.
Yes, the 95 Castle reissue.
Oh, you bought
cool.
the reissue. Okay.
Yes, with the 2 CDs.
Nice.
What's on the second? Well, I guess you'll talk about that later.
No, I could. It's not going to interfere with anything. But I mean, Black Bart Blues, a cover of Thin Lizzy's Massacre, updated 1988 versions of Prowler and Charlotte the Harlot, and live versions of The Clairvoyant, The Prisoner, Infinite Dreams, Killers, and Still Life.
I think those updated ones were on that Ed Hunter video game thing.
What updated ones?
Yeah,
Hey,
I
There's
think
no-
I've got that Ed Hunter. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
there
threw
it
out
is.
the game. I threw the game out because I couldn't play it anymore on any of my computers, but I still kept the CDs.
Well,
That was
I
a mistake.
I kept the game, but I've never played the stupid thing.
It's horrible.
Yes,
It's one of the worst
Very
video
good, yeah.
games. It makes Star Wars Battlefield, I think it is. It makes it look like Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. So
Well, I've never played video games. I never really got into them. I did buy one at a library sale, Kiss Pinball. That was
Oh, all right.
that was
Yeah.
a video game.
yeah, it came in with I guess it was a CD-ROM. You remember how they
Yep.
used to make those cheap things for
Mhm.
like 10 seconds?
Yeah, this was the Psycho Circus era, right?
I think it was right after that.
Oh,
Or right before it, or actually probably was around that time because they were releasing tons of stuff. The cover art doesn't give any indication what it's for. It's just got their faces, with a pinball. And back in the 80s, Atari had Journey Escape. I kind of wish I had that, not to play because you can't play that thing anymore. But have you ever seen it? It's so
I
terrible.
think I did play it,
Hmm.
and it's
Yeah.
horrible.
Oh, it's horrible. The
It's-
graphics back then were so bad.
It's like an ET level bad. Like
Actually-
Tron was at least fun. ET was horrible.
No, ET was terrible. Yeah. So,
But it's worth a lot of money.
well, because they threw him in a landfill. Anyway, go
Yeah,
ahead,
they
Wayne.
did.
I heard about that. Yeah, that's it for me.
They did. All right. We have an hour for this show, right? So get ready. It's about a half hour.
Oh, let's see it.
I got A Night at the Opera.
That's an excellent album, and if you don't like it, you suck. Go ahead.
There's really something wrong with you if you don't like
Live
it.
Killers?
Oh, one of the greatest live albums of all time. Good job,
Really?
Wayne. Good
Cool.
job. Yeah.
Cool. I got this one because I have a shitty version of it, so this one was a lot cleaner.
I actually like that album quite a bit. So far, all winners.
Some good stuff there. Queen
Yeah.
2.
Ah, my favorite Queen album of all time, right there.
Really?
Absolutely.
That doesn't surprise me. A lot of people love that one.
Cool.
It's so over the top. I actually like that
That's
album. A
cool.
lot of people dislike it, but I think it's great. And John Mutt Lang's production is phenomenal on there.
yeah, I'm not too crazy about the production, but yeah, there's some good songs on here.
Oh
I
man,
do.
Evil Walks. Ugh, good
Yeah,
stuff.
it's a good
Put the
song.
finger on you. That's a great one.
Excellent. Yeah.
The Game, Queen, the Game.
I like that album quite a bit too. A lot of fans. This is where a lot of fans abandon ship, but I love that album.
Right.
Was that
Uh,
before or after the Flash Gordon soundtrack?
Same year,
Before.
but right before.
Okay.
Man,
Oh,
Ah, Holy Grail,
nicer copy than I have, so I grabbed that one.
as you should.
and check out our cover of Atomic Punk.
That's right. George Harrison. What the hell is it?
I
Clairvoyant.
am a Beatles fan, but
Is that the
Yeah,
one
we
that
go-
got my mind set on you?
yeah,
course, yeah.
that it's not bad. It's okay. It's okay.
He was the best Beatle. Come on.
He was my favorite
He
Beatle.
actually, I'm not going to disagree with you on that, but
I
you
think
would
he's
not
put
know
out
that
the,
listening to that album.
I mean, the guy
Really?
wrote "Here Comes the Sun." That's one of the most gorgeous songs ever written.
Something. I
You know
mean,
why I like this?
Oh.
I like this
Or-
because Jeff Lynne is involved.
Yeah, he
you are
produced
an
And it
it.
sounds a lot
ELO
like
fan.
ELO. Right.
Yeah, well, great production on it. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Did you know that Frank Sinatra, every time he performed something, he said, "This is my favorite Lennon and McCartney song." Something in the way she moves, and nobody bothered correcting him.
What would you?
No comment.
George is actually watching the show. So hello, George. Hope you're feeling well. And
yes, our dear bass player
yep,
and our dear friend.
and Gingolo, which I'm actually doing an interview with him right after we do this show with his band Ashes Rain. He says, "What's everyone's favorite Queen album?" And Manny
Queen
just said
2.
Queen 2. What about you, Lou?
That's a tough one. I'm gonna have to say, I don't know. For me, Night at the Opera, and not because of Bohemian Rhapsody, but because of the other songs. Death on Two Legs is one of the best opening tracks I've ever heard.
Good stuff. And you,
Interesting.
Wayne?
I don't think I have one. To tell
Well,
you the
get
truth.
one.
All right, Queen 2. No, yeah, Queen 2. Sure, that sounds good.
Oh my God, that's
Great
one of the
trip.
greatest live albums
Another
ever.
great live album.
I don't have the CD, so I saw it's on record. I grabbed it.
Well, that's a great album to grab.
It was a good
Oh
one.
yeah,
Police. Goes to number 3.
Excellent album. Excellent.
underrated.
Absolutely.
These were all either $2 or $4, by the way.
Yeah, you're kicked ass on this, dude.
I did.
Yeah. How much did
Paul
you
McCartney.
spend, if you don't mind me asking?
It's like maybe $20.
Oh man,
Dear
you suck.
Lord.
Yeah, you suck,
This
dude.
album.
All right, I
don't know
love
what this
Paul
is. What is
McCartney,
this?
but that is one of his worst solo albums.
Is it? All
But
right.
hold on to it anyway.
I will. I'll throw it
Yeah.
away.
It was a movie. He made this movie that I would not recommend.
Yeah.
That was a soundtrack to it.
Okay,
anyway.
I wasn't sure what the hell that was. David Bowie.
Excellent album, dude.
I
Right.
have
there.
never ever see David Bowie albums in the.
That's
yard
because
sale.
we hoard them, dude. But that is worth. And
Apparently.
that is an original, what they call an original press, an
Right.
RCA, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. RCA.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ryko Disc re-released them, right?
Yes, and then they've been reissued several times since then. But yeah,
And then probably the best David Bowie album.
close. It's up there. It's up there.
Well, what's your favorite?
My favorite is Aladdin Sane,
Really? All right. No,
Yeah,
that's
which
too
is-
modest.
which actually is, if you break it up, it's a lad insane. Anyway,
Mhm.
so,
Right.
a great album.
And another really good Led Zeppelin album.
Oh, my favorite Led Zeppelin album right there.
Really? Very cool.
Absolutely.
I love this one.
I'd
I
have
love
to
the
say my
artwork,
favorite
too.
is number 2.
Boy, that's excellent.
They're all good except for Coda. I don't like Coda. But,
Well, Coda's like put together, but I even like
Right.
that.
Well, isn't
Like
Coda
that.
sort of like their like not like a rarities album, but like just sort of was
like
it a studio album, or was it sort of like an odds and
was.
sods?
Yeah, but it's exactly that. It's an odds and sods, but it was unreleased tracks. So basically, you're right the first time. It was just rejected tracks that weren't good enough to be.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking of Presence. Presence was an actual studio album.
Yeah.
All right. I love Achilles' Last Stand. It's probably one of my 5 favorite Zeppelin songs. So.
Yeah, but yeah, the physical graffiti is really good. So
No, it
So
is
that-
definitely.
had to grab that one. Again,
Can't
I
say I
rarely
blame
ever see those albums. I usually see the first like maybe 2 albums, and then after that, very.
I did grab 3 albums as vinyl. It was Rolling Stones, Time Waits for No One, which is a compilation only released overseas. The Doors, Volume 2. It was one of these cheap, probably not put out with permission overseas. And of course, there's only a picture of one band member on it, Jim. So as they used to do back then. And Ted Nugent, Double Life Gonzo. I won't talk
Great
about his
one.
politics, but I like his music. So
You can like a person's music and not care for their politics. I mean,
I
you
can
know,
like a human being and not care for their politics. I have friends that so
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, like, I am not a fan personally of David Crosby's politics, but I mean, geez, you can't deny the greatness of some of the songs that Crosby, Stills, Nash did, or the Byrds. You can't you can't deny the person's talents.
No.
So,
Jeff Dow says Hunky Dory is his favorite Bowie album.
Was it? Well, it's hard to pick It's hard to pick. All these classic bands like Queen, Led Zeppelin. There is no wrong answer to any of that. Unless you pick Flash Gordon by Queen, and that's wrong. But aside from that,
somebody did have that record in the yard sale, and I left it there.
The Vulcan fight theme is one of the greatest instrumentals ever written.
Oh, is that the football theme where dee 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 dee? I love that. Yeah.
No, it's the one where you hear Voltar go, "Stand by my Hawkmen, die, impetuous boy." Oh well, who wants to live forever?
And Murphy Full Fate is back. He says he loves Bowie, Aladdin Sane. I guess he agrees with you, Manny. And he also says, when it comes to making out, put on side 1 of Led Zeppelin 4.
Oh. 2 things. One, would anybody think less of me if I said that my second favorite Queen album was A Kind of Magic?
No.
Yes.
Don't care what you say, Wayne. I love Highlander, so it works for me. And my gateway Bowie album, meaning it was the first Bowie album I ever heard, was Let's Dance.
Same here.
I still love that album to this day. But I got to give love to Tin Machine, too. I think what he did with Tin Machine was out there. I think Reeves Gabrels is a great guitarist. Even though I don't particularly care for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I'm glad to see that Reeves got in with The Cure. So,
you did? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Wow.
Reeves has been the guitarist in The Cure now for almost 10 years.
Since then. Wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, after Pearl Thompson, as she refers to herself as now.
He was transgender. Or she. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, yes, transgender, but still married to a woman. So,
Right.
but to each their own.
Right.
They brought back Roger O'Donnell. Simon Gallup is still in the band. Jason Cooper still the drummer. And they brought in Reeves. And, it's a pretty tight lineup now. Probably my favorite one since the Wish lineup. Although I did love the Blood Flowers album. Why are we talking about The Cure? This is a metal show.
Well, Tin Machine's a great band, and David Bowie, I say, had an influence in the metal genre, and we'll talk about that another.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, definitely. Did. Hey, there's so many hard rock artists out of the UK from the 70s and 80s that said Bowie was an influence. So
absolutely, yeah. Oh.
Yep. And Murphy said his last comment was a reference to Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I never stole that.
Okay.
Went over all of our heads, apparently.
I just remember Racer X covered Moon Age Daydream, and they did a great job of that too.
No idea.
Well, Manny, would you know that? I mean,
no, I would be afraid to hear it the way they play so fast.
It was decent. I'm a Paul Gilbert fanboy, so.
Well, I think Paul Gilbert's an excellent guitar player, actually. So I'm with you.
Yeah, but Paul, stop making those faces, please.
No disrespect to the great Gary Moore, but Gary Moore had the greatest guitar faces of all time.
You know why Gary played like that? Yeah, a funny story. When he was learning guitar, the action on the neck, meaning from the strings to the frets,
right,
were so high that he literally had to do that because he was writhing in pain. Oh, and somehow he applied that.
And that stayed with him.
Yeah, but you know what? One of the greatest ever. Love Gary. Favorite.
Oh, he was phenomenal.
Yeah, my favorite Lizzie album is still Black Rose, and always
same here. Same here. Actually, one day we should just do an episode of name a band and we'll name a favorite album. Anyway, Lou.
I have action on my neck as well. So let's talk about Iron Maiden, Judas Priest.
Do the intro.
Let's start it.
Oh, you want to do the intro? You want to do the intro?
Yes, we want to do the intro.
Are you sure?
We are a legitimate podcast that's available on YouTube and all streaming media platforms.
All right.
It's time for Red Salad
All right, now we officially have signed on to Rat Cell Review. Where's his legs?
They fell off right here. Cheap ass Funkos. Anyways,
What's up, Manny and Lou? How are you today?
No,
we're doing great.
How you doing,
Good.
man?
I'm doing all right. Just have a little cold, so if anybody hears me coughing or sees me hit mute or whatever, just be
You
aware.
know what would cure your coughing is smoking. So just to help you out.
Oh, I'll try that next time.
All right, no problem.
My advice to you, Wayne: start drinking.
Start
Yeah.
drinking. I have a drink right here, iced tea.
Good man.
Yeah, that doesn't.
I hope that's iced tea.
Well,
Yes.
yeah, I hope so too.
It's been sitting there for a while. Let's see.
Ja-
So today,
Oh wait, should we explain what's going on with our other two members?
who cares?
Uh,
Do you really care?
Well, James and Greg, we miss you. Greg, we hope you feel
we
better
don't.
soon. And
All right,
And
maybe
Jay-
you. I'll let you continue. Go ahead.
and
No.
James, have fun in Hawaii. Remember, you're married, so don't roll around with any hookers. Okay, good. Let's go.
Wait, what?
Huh?
All around hookers?
I said, don't run around with any hookers.
Oh,
Yeah, no ill gun booty, James.
I don't
What-
think James is going to run around with any hookers.
When my wife's
Uh,
grandfather was
with his
stationed
hat
at Pro. when my wife's grandfather was stationed in World War II after Pearl Harbor, he said, "Oh, we used to make it with all the local girls. It was great." I'm like, "You're saying this to your granddaughter," but nothing. He never held back. Miss your grandpa.
Usually the grandparents don't. You should have heard the shit that my grandfather did. And but yeah, we're doing Ram It Down this week because last week I made a little bit of a mistake, but this week is Ram It Down. And Lou, you have the other album in your hand there, so you can show.
Yes,
that
I
one.
do. That is the 7th album from Iron Maiden, released in 1988, originally on Capital Emmy Records, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. Elephant in the Room. It's not a concept album.
Oh, we're going to talk about that because I thought it was. So we'll talk about that.
Well, the concept dies after the 5th song. But
Yeah,
anyway,
it's a loose concept
We
album.
didn't
It's
say it
not-
was a well thought out concept
Yeah.
album, but anyway, we'll
The
get to
Elder was a better concept album.
but the overall theme of
Yes,
the album
Yeah,
kind of
there's-
has a concept.
yeah.
It's-
Isn't there an overall theme to the album, Lou?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could say there's a theme to it, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a concept album. A concept album is an album, from start to finish, it tells one story. This, it bounces, but, that's why I don't know if concept album, a thematic album, yes, but not a concept album. But tomato.
Okay, granted, it's not the Who's Tommy or Queensryche Operation Mindcrime, but anyway, we'll get to the theme about it when we get to the album. But
And thank God it's not Operation Mindcrime too. Anyways, Wayne,
oh,
go
that's
ahead.
good.
Sorry.
Anyway,
Actually, let's start with that album first. We usually start with Judas Priest, but since we're on the subject of
Usually
Seventh
Okay.
Son,
You
let's start with
start.
that first. All right. Seventh album released 1988 of April. Like the number of the Beast that debuted at number 1 in the UK charts. The single "Can I Play with Madness" peaked at number 3 in the UK charts. It is actually, what this said here is a concept album inspired by the novel Seventh Son, but as we just discussed, it's really not a full concept. It was the first Iron Maiden album to feature keyboards. Unlike the previous album, Bruce Dickinson contributed to several songs on Seventh Son. It's also the last album to feature the Peace of Mind lineup until Adrian Smith comes back for the Brave New World album. So for me, listening back to this album, Maiden really added more progressive moments, and I noticed a bit more aggressiveness actually in Bruce's vocals. The opener, Moonchild, great opening track. I love the acoustic intro that leads into that synthesizer thing, and then the music of the build-up, and then right onto the vocals. Great chorus. Also love how they end the song going back to the intro. And I remember seeing them perform this live. I think it was that Somewhere Back in Time tour. Maybe they put this back.
It was the first encore of the Somewhere Back in Time tour in 2008. It was the opening track for their Main in England tour in 2012.
All right. But yeah, I'd love to see. I love this song so much, and I heard them start that song up. I was like, very excited to hear that. So awesome to hear that live. Infinite Dreams. I remember a lot of my friends used to love this song. They used to say it was like the best song on the album. I didn't really never got that, and I kind of still don't. Although over the years, it's kind of grown to like it a little bit more. I just feel like they tried to cram a lot of lyrics into this one, and Bruce seems a little bit rushed to get it all in. Otherwise, I like the song for the most part. Can I Play with Madness? I used to love the song when I first heard it, but over the years, I've heard them play this at almost every single concert I've been to and every live album, so I've gotten sick of it. But it is a good song, and it's a bit too happy sounding for Maiden for me, but it's a good one. Evil That Men Do. This one might sound familiar. I think we covered this one, didn't we?
We did, and a big shout out to Jake from Skyliner who did the vocals, David from Twisted Tower Dyer who did a killer lead. And before anyone says anything, I never have a problem with sharing the spotlight with another guitar player. Normally, it's been me doing the solos for Rad Sly Review, but I am always willing to share the spotlight with someone else because you know what? The only person you should be competing with is yourself if you're a musician, not with everybody else. And David's a great guitar player, so he did a ripping solo. I was so proud to be the Dave Murray to his Adrian Smith on this. And Mandir was the bassist?
No, that was for the Alice Cooper song. Matthias Reinholdsen from the band. Oh my God, I've lost it.
Matthias, I'm sorry, I forgot it was you. I apologize.
No, yeah. What the hell's the name of that band? Dead Cosmonaut. Sorry.
I thought that was Mandir.
No, that Mandir is Frostbite, BC.
Oh, for the love of God, I never know anymore. Yes, you played Dead Cosmonaut on your that radio show that you hosted for a couple of hours that they gave it to you. And I heard the song and I loved it and I immediately downloaded it.
Really?
Just forgot the name of the band, but no, I mean it was great.
They're very they're an awesome band. I love them.
Out of Sweden?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah,
he's got a couple other bands too, so check him out.
Yes, and that was a great cover, so check that out.
It was a very fun cover, and I don't know what you're talking about. I can show all the messages where you were like, "Why can't I just play the solo? Who's this other guy?" I mean, you're lying.
You shit-sucking bastard! I did not.
You did too, and you know it's okay. You can admit it.
Well,
no.
That was really me, Wayne, because I wanted to join your band, but I didn't want to share the glory with anybody. And, you know,
I have never in my life.
I couldn't believe. Well, that's all right. Well, just between me and you.
Just between you and me. Go.
Oh
fuck
shit,
yourself.
we're live. No, you were very happy to share the.
David's a great guy and a great guitar player. So,
he did an awesome solo. Probably better than you would have done, but he did really good.
I'll admit it.
No, you do awesome.
No, you do great solos.
Thank you, but I'm
the whole point between the whole point of the cover songs was to get a lot of people that were involved in the show, either through interviews or just being on the show to talk about albums or whatever, involved with doing cover songs. And for the most part, it worked out. But lately, it has not been working out too well. But that's the reason why we have some guitar.
Is there something else that's superseding that?
Right? Usually LSD.
Lead singer's disease.
Yes,
that's been the biggest problem with a lot of the cover songs, which is why we haven't been releasing them. But we will soon. We got a couple
coming out.
Yes, with the same guy because you know he's dependable.
Yes.
Hi, Alex.
So I finished Even That Men Do. I didn't even get to Even That Men Do. Right from the intro, you're hooked with the guitar melodies, which people actually sing along to during their concerts. Only gripe is that they should have added more lyrics. I feel like there's only so many different ways you can say "living on a razor's edge."
Well, you could say "on the razor's edge I live."
I don't know. It just living on a razor's edge, bouncing on a whatever, and it just keeps repeating it.
Like, ledge,
balancing on a ledge. Living on a razor's edge, balancing on a ledge, yeah. Living on a razor's edge, balancing on a ledge, yeah. Living on a razor's edge.
I live on, yes, I
do.
Know. Sorry.
But they could have added something else to that. Otherwise, it's an awesome song. Seventh Son of a Seventh Song, favorite song on the album, and probably my favorite epic song of theirs. Love the marching type drum beats in the intro and the way the song takes you on a journey with all its progressive influences, the speed ups, the slowdowns, the whole outro of the song where it's just mostly guitar soloing just works very well. They could have worked on the chorus a bit more instead of just repeating the title over and over again, but it works with the way it's done. The Prophecy. I don't really go to the song that much, but I actually do like it. It's funny because I think the lyrics aren't as repetitive as most of the songs on the album, but I think some of the ways Bruce sings on parts of this song, I don't care for too much, but there are guitar sections where it makes up for all that. The Clairvoyant, my fourth favorite song on the album. I used to put this song on mixtapes all the time because I didn't think it got too much attention. Great bass guitar opening. I really like Nico's drums on this one, doing almost like a disco type beat in the chorus. So one of my favorites. And then the last song, Only the Good Die Young. Good ending to the album. Not their best album closer, but still a good song. Love the chorus. It's short, it's simple, and to the point. Manny.
All right, I love this album. One of my favorite Iron Maiden albums. See, I thought it was a concept album. I want to go back to that. What Lou? I'm going to ask you. Wasn't it, or Wayne? Wasn't it a concept album based on the Bruce Dickinson? Well, he said he was based on a novel that I never read, but wasn't the whole thing just loosely based on this storyline of Bruce Dickinson had in his head? I mean,
I don't know if it was something he had in his head, but it was definitely something that he read somewhere about the whole prophecy of like a seventh son of a seventh son. At one point, they joked around and said it's about Jimi Hendrix, but that doesn't mean anything.
He definitely was a god, but anyway, go ahead.
But you know, I think maybe it's safe to say that they started with the concept of the title track, and they built the songs from there. But when you kind of piece it together, it's like, okay, Moonchild kind of detects a beginning.
Right.
Infinite Dreams going along the timeline of this person. Same with Can I Play with Madness? But then where does the Evil That Men Do fits into this?
Well, the guy reads Shakespeare, so he had to throw that in there. The evil that men do live on and on. Isn't that where they got that from?
Yeah, I guess the question is, like, you know, aside from certain themes being explored, such as prophecy and destiny and things like that.
Okay, I get what you're getting at. There's no real storyline. Really.
Right. Where's the beginning, middle, and end?
It seems to be like snatches of this character's life or experience.
Right.
Except for, yeah, I kind of agree. I'm just looking over my notes. Evil That Men Do really doesn't fit into that. Really, that kind of throws it. You're right, because lyrically, it's more like an observation, you know, living on a razor's edge, balancing on the evil that men do live on and on, which really doesn't fit in with the concept of the prophecy of the clairvoyant or the moonchild or the title track or any of that. So yeah.
See, it was an interview here, and it says basically it was a half of a concept album. There was no attempt to see it all the way through like we really should have done. Seventh Son has no story. It's about good and evil, heaven and hell, but but isn't every Iron Maiden record about that? So it's
in a way. Yeah, in a way, yeah.
I mean, really, if you think about it, the only concept that Maiden ever really had was the story of Charlotte the Harlot, which started with the song itself off the debut, continued on Number of the Beast with 22 Acacia Avenue, and for argument's sake, you could say that Hooks in You off No Prayer for the Dying and From Here to Eternity of Fear of the Dark is a continuation of that saga. But do we really want to include those two?
Hooks in You. Oh Lord.
What do we really want to include?
No.
But as Murphy says, King Diamond, Merciful Fate, King Diamond, Fatal Portrait was a concept album that went half, concept, and then the rest was like, story, single songs or whatever.
Yeah. Well, that was King Diamond. Would be his stock and trade with that.
Even did that with the Spider's Lullaby too. So it's the same thing.
I guess if you really wanted to make it a concept album, you should have just ended it with Clairvoyant. But would that have made a good closing?
It still wouldn't have mattered because, like Manny said, Evil That Men Do don't really fit into anything.
Yeah, I guess it's a concept album in theme. It's a theme of
very loose concept.
Yeah, because I mean I guess when we think of concept albums, we think of the Who, Tommy, Queensryche, Operation Mindcrime, King Diamond, Abigail. I should be, they're kind of storylines. There's no real story here. I think they kind of started it with Moonchild. Infinite Dreams kind of continues it. Can I Play with Madness? Doesn't really fit. I mean, I guess it does, but anyway, I don't know. I guess I'm gonna have to agree with you guys. It's very, very loose concept.
There's only one way I could really see this being an actual concept.
Which
If you
is
switched Evil That Men Do with Only the Good Die Young. But then again, Only the Good Die Young ends the way the album begins,
yeah,
with the acoustic intro.
right.
So, either make that its own track, or maybe put it at the end of Evil That Men Do. Either way, you know what? We got what we got. And
Good album. I
it's
don't need a
okay.
concept.
Yeah,
Right. It doesn't
maybe a
have
full
to be a concept album to
Right.
enjoy it.
A full concept actually might have ruined the whole thing, to tell you the truth. If not done right, it could have been.
Well, yeah, because I think a lot of bands, I'm not talking about Iron Maiden, sometimes they'll feel like they have to write a little piece of music or a little lyrical thing in there to thread the thing together.
Mhm.
And sometimes it just sounds thrown in there, awkward.
Yeah.
You don't have that with this album.
No.
On a musical front, I like the use of keyboards because they don't overdo it. Who
Right.
plays keyboards on here? I don't have the album in front of me.
Well, Adrian Smith is credited with synths,
Okay.
but live it was Michael Kenny, who is Steve Harris's bass tech. In fact, when the figure comes up during the keyboard section of the title track, when they
Okay.
did it on the Seven Sun tour and the Made in England tour, it was
Yeah.
Michael Kenny in costume as like
Oh,
a
okay.
phantom looking character.
Okay. So, but it's Adrian Smith that plays it on the album for the most part.
Yeah, let me confirm that. Keep
Okay.
talking, Manny.
All right. So musically, I think it's great. I think it's probably their most melodic album. And it's melodic without going into the pop territory, certainly not glam. Lyrically, I think it's the strongest album. And when Bruce Dickinson is focused, I think he does his best work.
Yeah.
As we go along to the next album, we'll see him get unfocused and, on a lyrical level, musically. I think his vocals are great on here. I'm a little sick of Can I Play with Madness, but Wayne, you had a good point about the vocals on there, a little more aggressive, especially in that song. You're right. Musically, it sounds a little more upbeat, but I think his vocals kind of contrast that, and I think that's why it works so well. Overall, I think it's a great album. The production is probably the best production they've had up to date, in my opinion. And it's really all I've got. I haven't listened to this album in a long time, so it's kind of cool to revisit it. And by coincidence, I bought it on vinyl like 4 weeks ago when I saw it cheap. My CD sounds better, but anyway, it's still a great album. Anyway, go ahead, Lou.
Yeah, so Adrian Smith did do synths on it, and Steve Harris did bass synths, which meant he probably did bass pedals, like 4 pedals, while he was, just to thicken the low end sound more.
Yeah.
Yep, that's all I got.
I didn't really care for the Prophecy song. It's not bad, but it's one that
It's not bad, but it's like a forgotten Maiden song.
Yeah, and I forget it until you mentioned it. I
Yeah.
forgot about it. Moonchild's an excellent opening. Clairvoyant might be my favorite song on the album. Seventh Son of the Seventh Sung, the title track. I like it. It's a little, I don't know how Bruce Dickinson sings. It sounds a little awkward, but it works. Was Dickinson the main lyricist to this album, right? For a change. Is that correct, guys?
Yeah, he wrote a lot of lyrics off of this one because he didn't
Yeah.
have any writing credits on the last album.
So Dickinson's name is credited on Moonchild, Can I Play with Madness, The Evil That Men Do, and Only the Good Die Young. Harris is sole credit on Infinite Dreams, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, and The Clairvoyant, and he shares co-writing on, well, every song except Moonchild. And Murray's only contribution to it is the Clairvoyant, not the Clairvoyant, I'm sorry, the Prophecy, which, sorry, Dave, you got the short end of the stick on this album.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah.
That's all right. Jeff Dow
Adrian
says
Smith
Moonchild.
Go ahead.
Moonchild is a novel by Aleister Crowley. And he also says he agrees with Bruce Dickinson is fantastic on this album. So,
And by the way, Adrian Smith is like the secret weapon to this band. He is such an underrated guitar player.
yes, and when he
Both
left
of those men are, but he definitely is just a phenomenal guitarist that doesn't get enough attention, in my opinion.
I agree with you. He's the only guitar player that I own a signature model guitar of. His Jackson San Dimas Quilt Top X series, which is made in Indonesia, not the United States, but the quality of the guitar is superb. Actually, you can see me play it in a bunch of stuff that I did with Wayne for the Rat Side Review and Friends cover series.
All right, cool.
Did you play it on the Kiss song? Right? Didn't you use it on the Kiss song?
I think
No.
I did it for the guitar solo on Reason to Live. And even though I'm actually in the On Through the Night video, the Def Leppard cover that we did with John from Shockwire,
Yeah.
I recorded this song with my Fender Strat. So, but you know, the Jackson's cool because it has the Floyd Rose, and you could do the dive bomb on video with it. So,
Well, cool. Hey
Anyway.
guys,
What?
what did you guys think of the keyboard work on here on it?
I liked it. I had no problem. I'm a keyboard fan, so I have no problem with keyboards.
Okay, I
Yeah.
didn't even on this album, but
And
I
it
thought was
adds
well
to
used.
the sound, so I like it.
Well, that's what I
thickens
like.
it.
Oh, so go ahead, Lou. What were we gonna say?
No, go. I was just saying it thickens it. That's all.
I think, yeah, and that's what I like about it. You know, a lot of bands when they add keyboards. Again, I'm not against keyboards either. Sometimes it seems to overwhelm the sound, or they've got this new toy where Iron Maiden utilize it to thicken, to broaden their sound a little more, and it worked with the songs instead of against. Anyway, that's
And they
all I had
still-
on the album, but
They
I
still
love
use it today too on the new album. So, it's something that they've always continued to use since this album, pretty much.
But they
Right.
use it tastefully. I
Right.
don't.
It's not overdone. They
I mean,
don't make it like
we talked about Turbo last time, and I love Judas Priest. You guys know that. I even defended that album, even though it's not my favorite. But there's a case where the band went overboard, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
And granted, they were chasing the sound. There was a band called Raven that did this album called The Pack Is Back. I love Raven, but of course, that might have been more record label pressure. But again, it kind of just went over the top with it, with that sound.
I bet you money it was record label pressure because remember when we interviewed Mick Wall from Kerrang,
Yeah.
Manny, and I remember telling him I love the band Mama's Boys, who were a Northern Irish contributor to the new wave of British heavy metal. If you listen to their older stuff, it's a power trio,
Right.
and if you listen to the album Power and Passion, and every album after that, it's heavily keyboard laden because their record label Jive, who's had Whitney Houston on their artist roster, told them to throw more keyboards in there so they could get more commercial appeal. Now, that is when keyboards are not used to a band's benefit.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with commercial appeal. It's just, it's got to sound right. And I love the Power and Passion album. I love Mama's Boys. But, sometimes it's best to go with your gut and not listen to your record label. That's all I got to say.
Well, what's disappointing about The Pack Is Back is produced by Eddie Kramer, who worked with Led Zeppelin and Kiss and Alice Cooper, and he was Jimi Hendrix's guy, and well, anyway, that's a story for another day, but it's very disappointing. Anyway, Wayne, that's all I've got on Iron Maiden, unless you have anything.
I got nothing. Lou never did his part, so.
Lou?
I was really intrigued by what Manny was saying. I mean, it's
Oh, I had him.
Manny,
on mute
you
the
are
whole
a
time.
great contributor to this podcast, and we love you for it. Thank you.
I didn't hear anything he said. I had him on mute the whole time.
Oh,
Such a dick. Anyways, all right. So, two things before I bring up my opinion on the album. So, I really gotta credit when Derek Riggs does Iron Maiden records. The theme of the artwork fits the music perfectly, and this is no different. The album has an overall warm tone. It doesn't sound compressed to hell. All the instruments, you can hear them perfectly, and it's like the way that it attacks you when you're listening to it. It's a gorgeous sound. And Martin Birch was such a great contributor to Iron Maiden's sound, and I think a big part of their success with fans that I mean, the fact that he's no longer with us, rest in peace, Martin. It's a huge loss for Maiden. Not knocking Kevin Shirley. We'll get to that when we get to his albums, but probably the last perfect Maiden record, I would say. That being said, Moonchild, you know, the way it starts out is just the way this album starts out is just perfect. I mean, that song just the dynamic build up to, I am he, like the way when everyone comes in and when you watch it live, like on the Made in England concert, it was perfect. And to say that I saw this on the Made in England tour of 2012, I mean, that was the apex of my favorite era of Maiden. So to see it live, it was wonderful. Infinite Dreams, when you hear it, when it starts out, you're kind of like, huh. But then like once it gets into the build up, especially once the instrumental section kicks in, Jesus Christ, like it makes you feel like you're Superman flying across the heavens, I mean, I love it when music takes you on a journey like that.
Right. Yeah, you gotta, just that song, you have to wait for it to build up to really get into it.
You do, but it's worth it.
Right.
It doesn't leave you disappointed. Can I Play with Madness? I love the song when I first heard it at 7 years old. I still love it to this day. I'm not burnt out by it. So I don't feel the same way towards this that I do songs like Run to the Hills and The Trooper. And what I love about the music video, I'm a Monty Python fanboy, and Graham Chapman was the art teacher in the video. That was his last filmed performance before he passed away from cancer. And the Maiden guys were huge Monty Python fans, so it was cool that they got to have that. The video's weird as hell, but it's great to see Graham Chapman in it.
James says join that, and he says I doubt it, Lou, but I don't know what he's talking about since there's a bit of a delay.
I doubt what?
I don't know. It's probably something we said a few minutes ago. I don't know. Continue. I just wanted to acknowledge James is not here.
Yes,
in Hawaii.
And remember, James, the Sentinel sounds nothing like Van Halen. Anyways, Evil That Men Do. I love this song. Honestly, I was torn between that, Moonchild, or Clairvoyant for my favorite song off the album. I'm gonna say for personal purposes, and because we covered it, I'll give Evil That Men Do the credit of my favorite song off the album. Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. Okay, so love the song, hate the chorus. This is where I kind of start falling off with Maiden when it comes to their choruses, because they could be so goddamn repetitive. Like, you could probably think to yourself, well, what about Ronnie James Dio? A lot of his choruses were repetitive, and yeah, they were. I guess it's just how you do it. Turn Up the Night sounds a lot cooler in the context of the song that Sabbath recorded back in 81, as opposed to Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. It's like, Jesus Christ, Bruce, catch a breath.
Yeah. That's what I meant by the awkwardness of the lyrics in that. I guess it was the chorus I was thinking of, but yeah. Seventh Son of the Seventh. Yeah.
But his performance on the song is great. I mean, he's using more of an, dare I say, operatic tone than he normally does. Like he starts. I realize that's ridiculous, and I look stupid doing that.
It was. I mean, man. Go ahead.
That's what he's doing. But that instrumental outro, probably one of the best that they've ever done. Prophecy, that's my throwaway track, and I love Dave Murray. He's made so many great contributions to Maiden throughout their career. I mean, Deja Vu being one of them. I'm sorry, Dave, this is not one of your best. Love you, but no. The Clairvoyant, great song. I admit I first heard it on the Real Live One CD, and the way it's played, like the vibrato, the whammy bar, it's like wah 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 wah. It's like, what? It sounds like a sick duck. I'm like, thank God you have the original studio recording. And when they play it now, they play it the way it was originally recorded.
Right.
So that's great. Only the Good Die Young, great track. Again, as we've just discussed, it's kind of hard to say that this is a concept album. It's more of a thematic album, but it still works. I guess you could say, and there are other Maiden albums after this that I absolutely love, and we'll get into those when we get to them. But I would have to say the best way for Maiden to end the first chapter, the first decade of their recording career, what a way to go out. It's unfortunate that with Adrian, it was his last album before him and Bruce returned in 99. I think it was Manny who said it, but he was their secret weapon, and I love what Dennis Stratton did on the first album. I totally do. And I will give Yannick credit where it's due. He's made some great contributions to Maiden as well, but it's like when Adrian joined, it's like when Ian Gillan joined Deep Purple. It's like we got our boy,
Yeah.
So
James says Iron Maiden with repetitive chorus. I'm shocked.
Hey, bitch, get online right now. Join us.
Yeah, get on.
He can be
Get
on the
on.
chat, but he can't come in the.
If you could be on the chat, you can jump on your phone and join in. Come on,
join in. God damn it.
Yeah, fight us.
So,
Jeez.
by the way, I should have mentioned. You mentioned Martin Birch's production. Yeah, what a great production on it. Like I said, it's probably the best sounding Iron Maiden album up to this point. And I forget how much good stuff Martin Birch. I mean, he started as an engineer to Deep Purple. Actually, let's be honest, he produced those Deep Purple albums because somebody had to, because those five men aren't going to get along, agree on anything. He did a couple Blue Oyster Cult albums. He did those classic Black Sabbath albums with Ronnie James Dio. The guy, yeah.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he knew what he was doing. May he rest in peace, because that guy was phenomenal. And that's the guy Judas Priest should have hired. Anyway, that's another story.
Did he produce Burn, Manny?
Yes, he produced. He produced Burn. He worked with him in rock. Actually, he worked from him from in rock up to Come and Taste the Band.
All right, Burn is my favorite Deep Purple album. So, like, just everything about I think that's in my top 3 favorite songs ever.
Oh, it's even though my preferred lineup is with Ian Gillan, that is definitely one of my top Deep Purple albums. Actually, I like every Deep Purple album more or less, but I'm a fanboy. Anyway,
no wrong with that.
But Martin Birch, great producer. Wayne?
Oh yeah.
All right, on to Judas Priest, Ram It Down, the 11th album released. Wow, 11 albums already, and by 88.
That's because
crazy.
Fucking phenomenal. Go ahead.
Released May 1988, the last album to feature Lou's favorite drummer, Dave Holland.
Or does it?
That's debatable if he's even on here, but continue.
Yes, right. Ram It Down would be the final Judas Priest album for 30 years, recorded with producer Tom Allen. Allen would later return as co-producer to the 2009 live release of Touch of Evil. He would not produce another Judas Priest studio album until 2018's Firepower. The band recorded a rendition of Chuck Berry's Johnny Be Good, intended for inclusion of the soundtrack for the 1998.
That wasn't a rendition. That was an abortion. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Johnny Be Good movie. The song found its way onto Ram It Down and was the album's first single. Although the song is credited as written by Barry and arranged by the band, only the lyrics remain from Barry's version, the music being entirely new. Now, this album I really thought was worse than it was, but after listening to the slow tempos and turbo, this was almost a breath of fresh air. I can even get past the drum machines on this. Because I've given this album shit before, and actually me and Greg did a what's that other show that we have, Screams from the Grave. Yes, you're on mute.
Screams from the Grave, right?
Yes, and we did this on there, and I think I liked it a little bit more than I thought I did too on there too. So it starts off with the fast-paced opener Priest is known for with the song Ram It Down, then continues with another good song, Heavy Metal. One thing that I find that sounds strange though is the bass. It sounds like it's not real at all. I don't think
it's a bass synth. It's a definite bass synth.
Yeah. Regardless, I still like the song. I think it's heavy and catchy. Now, Love Zone is a terrible song. Rob's screaming is too much on this, and I hate that groove they are playing. It actually sounds like Aerosmith's Love in an Elevator, just not as good. Come and Get It doesn't get any better. This song is pretty forgettable. Hard as Iron, finally a real kick-ass song and some double bass drumming and quick guitars. I like the sound effects and I really like the chorus. Even though the song sounds like it's missing guitars or something, it just feels empty in certain parts, almost like it was unfinished, but it's a cool song. Blood Red Sky is the best song on the album and my second favorite ballad of theirs. I like it. I like how it starts off with the wind and then the slow build to the song. They made all the electronic sounds really work well together. It's a really catchy song. I'm a rocker. Another forgettable song. Johnny Be Good, but this song be bad. Love You to Death, terrible song. Monsters of Rock ends the album again on a bad song. I believe this one had to do with the festival Monsters of Rock, but it's just not a good song. So there are some gems on this album. It's just it's a mishmash of just stuff.
Agree.
I feel this album just really wasn't that focused. And then, like we said too on the last show, it was supposed to be a double album with twin turbos or whatever. So it just feels like it was just thrown together. What do you think, Manny?
I think it was thrown together. All right. There's two ways of listening to an album. There's as a fan. So as a fan, I'm a little more forgiving and would let them just whatever. I can enjoy the album on level. And then to listen to it like we're doing critically is different. When you listen to it like that, it's a very flawed album. Let's talk about the drum sound, first of all. I hate it. I hate the drum sound. I don't think that's Dave Holland. I don't think it's a human being. I don't like the drum sound at all. The production dates this album even more than Ram It Down is. I think it's a case where these guys were kind of backpedaling, which is kind of strange because Turbo was actually a very successful album. It was but I think image-wise, I think they suddenly didn't like to be in a world of Bon Jovis and Def Leppards. They felt like, they let their hardcore fans down. So I think they backpedaled. The production is terrible. Ram It Down, the title track. A good song, again, kind of ruined by bad production. I don't like the drum sound. It sounds like there probably are guitar synths, but it sounds like they kind of half listened to a Ministry album, but didn't quite finish listening to it all the way. They're like, we just like this little part here, I love the song Heavy Metal, but again, the production on it and Wayne just left or something.
No, I'm still here.
Okay. But the production, again, I like the song quite a bit. It's catchy. Let's see, Love Zone. I kind of like the song, but lyrically is so stupid. Those lyrics are so dumb. Even Gene Simmons would be ashamed of it.
That's saying a lot.
Come and Get It. Okay, that song, they must have found it on the cutting room floor and they go, well, we need another track. Well, we'll use this because it's totally forgettable. What is the next one? Hard as Iron. It's a good song, ruined by bad production. Blood Red Skies is the best song on here, and it's kind of a sister to the Out in the Cold song. Great song. The production works for that song very well. To combine the guitar synths and the electric drums, just perfect. I'm a Rocker. Okay, lyrically, we get it. You like to rock, Rob. We were wondering
that cheekiness.
After Turbo, we had our doubts, but now we're convinced.
Now we're sure.
Johnny Be Good. I used to actually like it because of the music video showed moshing, which actually makes no sense when you think about what song that they're actually playing.
Right.
I thought Rob Halford looked cool, but if you're asking about the song itself, well, Chuck Berry, I'm sure enjoyed cashing those royalty checks, but okay, Rockabilly and Judas Priest, that's like fish and ice cream. Just doesn't go together.
Although I'm sure Ben and Jerry's made that at some point.
They probably will. The
Yeah.
solos are pretty good on there, but
Which
overall,
it's a shame because up to this point they made really good cover songs.
they did. They did.
Oh, I
But
thought you were gonna say Ben and Jerry made really good ice cream.
Oh, they might have. I don't know.
they might
Well,
better than this song.
well, that
But-
fish and ice cream. That sounds like something Oscar the Grouch would eat, and I'll leave it at
Well, he
that.
definitely did.
Ben and Jerry's fish and chips.
There's good parts to the Johnny B. Good song, the solos. I don't totally buy they rewrote it. I mean, they kind of use the same riff, but it definitely is a song that they covered, not because they felt compelled to cover it, but because they wanted to be on some 80s soundtrack to a movie that is so shitty that you can't even find it streaming anywhere. That's how shitty it is. And Love You to Death. I'm glad that Rob Halford was feeling a bit randy and he wants to, you to focus on the backseat of his car while he's, getting his groove on, but it sucks. Lyrically, it's terrible. Musically, it's lazy. Monsters of Rock, which are trying to do a plotting sort of Black Sabbath type tune, that sucks too. It's terrible. And, the reason Judas Priest are cool is because they're Judas Priest. They're not trying to sound like anyone else. But overall, this album is definitely, I think they're unfocused. I think there were probably internal stuff going on. And I think they felt they need to make an album so they go tour or something. But it just sounds unfocused. And I don't believe any of the songs survive on the set list at all. Maybe Heavy Metal might make it once in a while, but I doubt it. Overall, disappointing album. At the time, I like it. And I still like the album better than I make it sound. But it's still disappointing. And I think it's the most dated album, worst production, worst lyrics, and worst cover tune. So overall, disappointing.
It's interesting. You mentioned Ministry earlier on, and now that you say that, I'm like, it's kind of almost industrial.
It
Judas
does have
Priest.
parts of it, like Heavy Metal.
Yeah.
Not Love It to Death, but Love Zone. Unfortunately, he's got that sound to it. There's a few tracks on there. In a way, it's cool they're looking forward, but they didn't look forward enough. And I wish they had concentrated on songwriting. And you can tell Halford's just not into it because Love It to Death. I hate to keep focusing on that, but here's an intelligent man writing lyrics that if this was Kiss, we'd be, oh yeah, whatever. But it's not Kiss. And I'm not putting down Kiss. I like Kiss, but
coming from their previous work and the things that they wrote, the lyrics that they wrote, the music that they wrote, this album just, it's their worst album.
Yeah, definitely their worst, at least until we get to the
It's their worst one.
Well, we'll get to it. But it's definitely actually I would give it its worst album if the second album with Ripper Owens didn't exist, which I can't remember.
I forgot. You know what? I forget about that one. It's all right. So there might be a tie.
Yeah. Lou?
To answer the statement that you made before, Manny, the only song from this album that survived the set list was Blood Red Skies. It was performed on the Epitaph tour, and it actually made it on the third leg of the North American Firepower tour. Other than that, songs that were performed on the Ramadan tour died with the Ramadan tour. They never performed any of the songs from this. Now, looking at the lineup of Twin Turbos, where if it's tracks 1 through 9 of Turbo. The second disc would have consisted of All Fired Up, Red, White, and Blue, Prisoner of Your Eyes, Turn on Your Light, Ram It Down, Hard as Iron, Love You to Death, Monsters of Rock, Heart of a Lion, and 2 unreleased tracks, Under the Gun and Fighting for Your Love. I think Twin Turbos would have been a better album than Ram It Down.
By far.
But Turbo itself stands alone as a good album. This doesn't. The only song from this that I put on any playlist is Blood Red Skies. As far as I'm concerned, it's one of the best songs Priest has ever. I don't like saying best of. It's one of my personal favorite Priest songs. So I make sure I put it on every playlist I make of theirs.
Shout out to Big Evil Pops, by the way. He just joined the chat.
Cool. That's
Paul.
That's right, Paul. Hey, Paul Nur, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, so Blood Red Skies, I'm glad it's the only song that survived from this album. It's the diamond in the rough of this album. The production's god awful. And I was thinking about it. I was like, there's a lot of industrial bands that I do like. I love Nine Inch Nails. I love Stabbing Westward. I used to love Ministry, but I'm not really keen on any album of theirs after Psalm 69. And like if you really think about it, I mean, to me, Fear Factory really blended that perfect industrial meets like death metal type sound with clean vocals. So if you want a better electronic based metal band, check out Demanufactured by Fear Factory. You won't be disappointed. You'll be disappointed by this though. That's not Dave Holland on drums. That is a drum machine. And I don't even think that's
at least on one or two of the songs.
Doubt it.
Does not. I doubt it.
No way. I don't even think that's Ian Hill on bass.
No,
I
Ian
really
Hill
don't
definitely
not.
And
He
might
and the album
on
suffers
Johnny
for
Be
it.
Good, but no, I don't even think he plays on that. That's an electronic drum on Johnny Be Good.
That is.
Yeah.
The album suffers because of it. Judas Priest is meant to be a 5-piece band, not Rob with the 2 guitar players and the rest is all electronic. You can't do that. And Rob tried doing something more industrial in 98 when he came out with the Voyeurs album from his Project 2 with John Lowry, John 5.
Yeah.
And that didn't work.
Ooh, very shocking. Big Evil Pop says great album. Now, are you talking about Ram It Down?
Yeah, we already moved past Seventh Son, dude. We already spoke about it. We're talking about Ram It.
Well, he might like. There's a lot of people that like Ram It Down.
I don't.
Well, good for them.
But when you listen to it like we're listening to it closely, it's just really flawed.
Yeah.
It was hard for me to listen to it again. Like, I just wanted to hit skip after like the first 30 seconds. It did nothing for me as a fan. One thing I love about Priest is their guitar tone. Not a fan of it on this album. Just
there really is no real strong guitar. I didn't even think of mentioning that. Even the song Heavy Metal that I like,
Factory.
Even the song Heavy Metal, I like. You're right, Lou. It's kind of almost flat, isn't it?
It is. Take an album like this, Seventh Son, where the guitars sound like they have like that warm tone. Yeah. You can hear the notes. You can hear the fluidity. It sounds mechanical on Ram It Down to a point where it's just like, it's hard for me to enjoy them.
That's the thing with Priest, though. With every album, they always are experimenting with some new guitar tones, some new guitar pedals, something.
And that's fine.
It's fine, but that's the one main problem I have with Priest, because they're always, like I said, they're always doing something different. And usually guitar tones, they sound like chainsaws, or they don't sound like real guitars a lot of the time.
Well, think about the albums that this one are sandwiched between, Turbo and Painkiller.
Right.
I like those guitar tones. I don't like them on this album. And me as a guitar player, I listen to that and it bothers me the way a dog whistle would bother my Shih Tzu, and I'm being nice about it. Blood Red Skies is the only redeemable track. Johnny Be Good, Jesus fucking Christ, no thank you. A bad attempt at covering a classic for a movie with Brat Packers that people forgot about as it came out. Probably the worst Priest album since Rock-a-Rolla, and I liked Rock-a-Rolla.
You too, yeah.
Is it the worst Priest album ever? We still have a couple of clunkers ahead of us, but for now,
during the classic period, which we'll say from 74 to 90, definitely their worst album by far.
Yeah. See, this is ending on the high points. Seventh Son. Ram It Down is ending on a low point, except for Blood Red Skies. Perfect song for me.
You brought up the guitar tones. I didn't even think of the guitar solos. Usually, you can distinguish those two guys, KK and Glenn Tipton. On this, they didn't really. I can't really tell who's soloing. I mean, I guess if I opened up the album, it would tell me who's playing what, But I just, yeah, it's just disappointing. And the production's bad enough, and the production definitely doesn't help. But in my opinion, it just sounds like lazy songwriting. Come and get it. I'm a rocker. Love you to death. Even Love Zone. They probably could have written those songs in their sleep and probably did. I just don't. I just think they're weak tracks. I mean, every artist has an album that, especially a career as long as Judas Priest,
Yeah.
Whether it's Black Sabbath or even Led Zeppelin or my hero Alice. I was going to mention them, right? Anyway,
nothing wrong with that.
They're all gonna have an album that doesn't fit discography. Doesn't mean it's bad, but in this case, it doesn't fit discography for all the wrong reasons. It's just not a good album. Anyway,
if I could give credit to any other song other than Blood Red Skies, I'll have to give it to the opening title track, only because it starts off like "Accepts Fast as a Shark." And I could appreciate Rob's vocal talents. But as far as the material, no. Again, even the next song, Heavy Metal, the way it begins with a super fast guitar solo. Now, do I enjoy shredding? Absolutely. As I mentioned, I love Paul Gilbert. I love Yngwie. But there's a difference between playing fast and it meaning something and just playing fast for the sake of playing fast and the notes sound like clumped up shit that gets stuck in a pipe of a toilet bowl. I realize I'm being very harsh right now, but this is what happens when a band I love, and Priest is in my top 10, but this is what happens when I, as a fan, do have standards for the bands that I love. Like, come Firepower, how I feel about them. This is substandard. And I think it's symptomatic of the fact that in 88, the heroes of the genre, and I'll say Judas Priest, Ozzy, I'll say Black Sabbath and Kiss, for the most part, lost the plot. Like I will give the Tony Martin era of Black Sabbath credit and say those were great albums of great songs. But when you think about it, in 88, you got Injustice for All. You got, A Testament releasing albums. Megadeth's already out. Fate's Warning, Queensryche. You got all these newer metal bands creating some of the best stuff of their career.
Yeah.
And it saddens you when you think, wow, these guys are doing better than the heroes who started the genre. Like, they've taken it to a different level, a higher level. When you're a band that started the genre and you release substandard material, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I forgive them for it. I totally do, because there's so much great stuff that came out after it. But I mean, come on. Are you really going to say that Ram It Down's a better album than Seventh Son of a Seventh Son? I defy you.
Glenn Tipton joined the chat.
Can he type?
He's unsubscribing from our channel.
Too soon?
Yep. And he says, you're really not a good guitarist, and what can you say about anything that I do?
Oh,
What have
I'm
you-
shit,
what have you
Glenn. I
done?
can't play what you play. I really can't.
He said, what have you
But
done in your career?
I play in a band with Wayne Noon, and that's not saying much either.
And that's, yep. See? Terrible. No, Glenn Tipton is not watching the show. Big Evil Pop said, about to be blasphemous. He does not care for Judas Priest.
That is totally blasphemous. Yeah.
No,
And,
he's entitled to feel that way.
No, he's
Manny
not.
doesn't. I
I'm-
mean, James doesn't care for Iron Maiden. It's all good.
I'm
I don't
kicking
think
him
James
off of the
cares
chat.
for either band either, actually. But
I'm
He
anyway,
good.
prefers priests to Maiden at this point.
I'm going to block him from the show. Actually, I don't approve. I'm going to report him.
Don't be a fascist, Wayne. He's not
Yeah,
sending you porn.
yeah.
All right. What are we giving Iron Maiden? Seventh son of a seventh son of a seventh son of a seventh son of a seventh son.
Well, Wayne,
10.
you go first.
I'm going to give it a 9.
I give it a 9.
9. And man, Lou's giving it a 10.
Right.
Sure.
I'll give it a 9 because I didn't care for prophecy. 9.
Okay.
That's why I
And
gave it a 9.
ram it down. I'm going to
3.
give it a 3. Wow. Lou,
1.
10. I was actually being generous. I was giving it a 5 because I do like some of the songs on there.
I do too, but again, if you listen to it as a critic or as we're doing, analyzing it, it doesn't really hold up very well.
No, it does not.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not an album I go to.
no, I can throw it on and kind of enjoy it for what it is, but if I'm listening to it like I did the other day, yeah, it's disappointing. I don't know what else to say. It's just one of my favorite bands. Just sometimes a band artist, I'll name Alice, Lace and Whiskey. As a kid, I hated that album. Now I listen to it and I like it. It's still not my favorite, but I get where he was coming from.
You only get
Kiss,
one Alice.
music from
You only get one Alice Cooper mention.
I
each
get
show.
2. Kiss, music from the Elder. I kind of get where they're coming from. At the time, I didn't like it, but now I do. But this album is just whatever. Anyway,
That's
Wayne-
the interesting thing about Kiss, though. You could look back on albums that weren't, after Dynasty, and there is some great material.
I
out there.
like Unmasked. I
thought Unmasked had some great songs.
I agree.
And for
But
what
this
it's
one
worth,
doesn't.
I know it's not a popular album amongst diehards, but I like Crazy Nights too.
Crazy Nights has got some great songs on it.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's a difference. Yeah, you can bitch and moan about all the keyboards on Crazy Nights, and you can bitch and moan that, oh, they're going for radio play. Yeah, have you heard of Kiss? Yeah, that's what they do. But
When has Kiss never gone for radio play?
Yeah, exactly. The songs are well written. Maybe you can say, well, I don't like that style of music, but they're well written, they're well performed. This album, you could tell they just threw it together, especially a band with Judas Priest's talent to throw something like this together. It's almost offensive, but it's Judas Priest, so I forgive him. Anyway, go ahead, Wayne.
And Big Evil Pop says if he was deaf, he'd enjoy Priest.
Ah.
He's just taking it way too far right now.
One thing though is I would love to eventually do is maybe make a music video out of Blood Red Skies with like some anime footage or Terminator footage. That would work. Actually, an anime did reference Blood Red Skies in one of them. I forget which one, or may have been a manga, a Japanese comic book. So I'm
not a nerd, so I don't read that stuff. But yeah, go
that's fine. Fuck you. I'm just glad that I'm glad it's the one song that survived from this album because it really is a great one.
It is. It definitely is. It's the shining moment on that album.
Yes.
Anything else?
That's all I got.
That's all you got, Lou? Manny? Lou, I know you got a big show you just uploaded.
Yes, I interviewed Mr. Michael Brandvold of Michael Brandvold Marketing, and also of 3 Sides of the Coin, which is a Kiss-centric podcast. And he also hosts the Music Biz Weekly podcast. Michael was a great interview. Part 1 was awesome. Part 2 is going to be even better. We get into a very friendly discussion on Kiss, in regards to the all right. So flat out, I'm going to give a spoiler alert. My favorite lineup was the lineup that did the Unmasked tour that recorded The Elder. Now, in the United States, that was probably the least popular lineup of Kiss, because the only American show that they did was at the Palladium in New York City to premiere Eric Carr. And other than that, they did no tour until Creatures of the Night, which, if you read Paul Stanley's book, Face the Music, apparently they were playing to half empty to maybe 10% full arenas. Some shows they actually canceled. Now, I loved the Ace, Eric, Paul, and Gene lineup, but we get into a discussion on the legitimacy of Tommy and Eric using Ace and Peter's makeup. And you know what? It's cool because we were respectful about it. And, Mike is a very well-educated guy. He's very business-oriented, but he doesn't lose sight of humanity. He gets it. And he's just a really great guy. And I can't wait for people to watch this interview. So, currently editing it as we speak.
Very cool. Manny, what about your girlfriend? What's her podcast?
Well, I'm not dating her officially, but she has got her podcast. She's recorded third episode, comes out sometime next week. It's Chin Up, Tits Out. And again, it's not music centric, it's female centric, but again, these three ladies are great, and I hope people check it out. They should. It's just they're just funny chicks. So very good stuff.
Everybody go check that out. And I have some interviews coming up. And after this show, I have to do a band called Ashes Rain. So they're going to be doing an interview about their band. Actually, he was just in the chat a little while ago. Who else do I got? I just did an interview the other day with Infernal Majesty, our buddy Metal Thrashing Mike on our podcast network here. And then I also just did an interview with Speaking to Stones. So that'll be up pretty soon as well. So,
what is that, Speaking to Stones?
Speaking to Stones, it's like a groove metal type band, kind of like almost like Dream Theater, maybe a little bit of King's X thrown in there. So some cool stuff. I think you guys might like it.
Infernal Majesty is Metal Thrashing Mike's
Infernal Tyrant. Did I say Majesty?
Yes, because Infernal Majesty was a melodic death metal band out of Australia.
I got confused. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that I like them. I'm sad that they broke up after one album.
So you don't like Mike's band?
Yeah, Infernal Tyrant.
You don't like Mike's band then?
What's that?
You don't like Mike's band then? You just like Infernal Majesty.
No, I haven't heard Infernal Tyrant. I'd like to hear them.
Well, everybody should go listen to Infernal Tyrant. If you like Overkill and like thrash type stuff, you'll like Infernal Tyrant. I'm sorry, Mike, I pronounced that wrong. But you know what? That's actually getting back at Mike because Mike messed up on our show too.
It happens.
It happens.
But Wayne, do we have anything coming out soon?
No.
Okay, nothing to promote. Got it.
Nothing to promote yet. What else do I gotta do? Oh, please, everybody, do me a favor. When you're in the chat, share this to all your friends on your social medias. Please share the show. I want to see this chat room. We got 9 people in here now, and that's a lot of people for us.
Thanks, the most we've ever had. Thank you.
No, I think we had 10, but 9 is a good number for us. But please share the show. Get a lot of people in this chat, and let's get the chats going a little bit better and get some more people subscribing. Please hit that subscribe button. Like us on all the social medias. Join those as well. We're on everything. And Big Eva Pop said, "Damn Lou, you're a damn encyclopedia of music." Yes, he is, and so is Manny. Manny's
giving me a run for my money. There's one thing also that I wanted to promote. So I got a phone call today from my friend Greg Hawk, who was in Cold Steel. Yes, he was in Cold Steel. So he knows Troy North.
I hate the singer from that band. Such a dick.
But anyways, he's in a Rush tribute band now called YY3. And before this pandemic stuff was happening, after Neil Peart had passed away, we were actually about to do a benefit concert to raise money for cancer research. Wow. Unfortunately, we had to put the kibosh on that for obvious reasons. However, he called me today and suggested if we want to try it again. So it is possible that I may be doing a benefit concert, organize it to raise money for cancer research with YY3, have Rat's Eye Review involved, and we may do a GoFundMe because renting a venue is going to cost money, renting a sound guy is going to cost money, and hopefully I could get some good raffle prizes and things like that, to give to people and some incentive to donate. So I'll let you guys know when that comes closer to fruition.
I
But
can donate Zombie Elvis.
zombie Elvis. I'm telling you, it's Michael Myers. But cancer research is something that's really important to me. Like I've lost family members, including my dad to cancer, and it's something that hits everybody. So, just want to do a little good for the world in the name of Rat Style Review.
All right, definitely keep us updated, and we'll promote it on all the social medias and all that. And not to end the show on a sad note, but
I didn't think that was a sad note. I'm saying do something good for it.
Right. No, that is something good, but there is a sad note, and I wanted to do this at the beginning of the show, but I forgot. Steve Grimmett from Grim Reaper passed away yesterday.
I was a fan. I know there were I know a lot of people found them corny or whatever. I don't care. I liked them.
I think a lot of that happened because of the Beavis and Butthead.
That and the way they looked. I mean, they weren't,
right, of course.
Yeah, but you know what? During that time, that album came out in '83. There weren't many bands that were sounding like that. They were more traditional. They weren't trying to be thrash. They weren't trying to be pop. They were more of a traditional band, and they sang about the good things in life, Satan and hell. I mean, good stuff.
What else was there?
And a lust for freedom. Don't forget a lust for freedom.
Yeah, and I think weren't they on the soundtrack to one of the Toxic Avenger movies or anything?
Lust for Freedom, which was a Trauma release. Yeah.
Okay.
Their third album was basically the soundtrack to the Trauma film called Lust for Freedom.
Okay. Well, see, I knew you would know. I knew it was something like that.
I guess I am a damn encyclopedia of music. Thanks, Paul. but
anyway,
yeah, my brother had their two albums, See You in Hell and Fear No Evil on cassette, and I enjoyed them. I thought, Nick Bocott is a great guitar player, and I'm glad to see that Nick still has a career in music, working with he worked with Marshall Amplification, he's worked with Sweetwater.
He's also a writer. He used to write for Guitar Player, or no, Guitar World, Guitar for the Practicing Musician. I actually met him once where there used to be a place called Thoroughbred that, they would be promoting guitar clinics, how those guitar stores do that. Guitar Center does it too. Very nice guy. Very, very, just a very nice guy. But he was dressed, it's like 88, 89. He was dressed in the Grim Reaper type gear, the studs and all that. And then you say hello to him, he sounds like an English professor.
don't they all?
Yeah.
But yeah, Steve Grimmett was a great singer. Rest in peace, and our condolences to his family and loved ones.
Yeah, I'll never forget. I was back when I was younger. You would just look for those album covers that look cool to you. You would just buy something because of the album cover, and that was like one of the albums, Rocky to Hell. I thought it was a weird cover. It had some kind of demon guy with a
motorcycle going through a state.
No, that was the other album.
That was Fear No Evil.
Yeah, Fear No Evil. But Rocky to Hell was the other one.
Oh yeah, you're right. It had like a.
It's like in the forest. Yeah, it's like a Grim Reaper and a skeleton or whatever. So that was cool. To me back in like 8 years old, that's cool.
Oh, yeah, cool.
So that was my first introduction. And then when I saw them on Beavis and Butthead, I was like, oh my God, there's that band. So I've been a fan ever since. So, and actually they just released a box set of the first 3 albums. So
good, it's about time.
So if anybody doesn't have those, find them.
The guy got his leg amputated and he went back and played on tour. Does it get any more metal than that?
Went back, played on tour, started another Grim Reaper band, Steve Grimmett's Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
And then he also joined the 3 Tremors. And he became the 4th Tremor and went on tour and did some shows with them.
That's incredible. That's
pretty cool.
That guy's cool.
Yeah. Yep. So rest in peace, Steve Grimmett. And I believe
we just got asked a question in the chat.
Okay, go ahead.
From Devil Dozer, you guys ever listen to the Iron Maiden tribute band Iron Maidens, or have you heard of them?
Yes, it's got Nita Strauss in it.
Nita Strauss was in it. I think they're coming to Wichita, and I might go see him. Yeah, I just tuned in. I was napping. LOL. The Iron Maidens do a great job of playing the songs of Iron Maiden. I think Courtney Cox is an awesome guitar, not Courtney
Oh.
Cox from Friends.
Oh, you got me all excited. You got me all excited for nothing, man.
No, Courtney Cox, the guitarist of the Iron Maiden, she's an amazing musician, super talented, and very attractive. Not gonna lie, and
She's very hot, and she was great in Friends too. Anyway, go ahead.
wrong Courtney Cox. But if you're in the New York area and you want to check out a great Iron Maiden tribute, check out Live After Death with my buddy Nick Trotty. Great band.
They've been around forever. So
Yeah, and Sal from Anvil is the bassist in that band. Well, formerly of Anvil. So
very cool, very cool. All right, I guess that's it. So subscribe to Rat Salad Review, and we will see you guys next week with more Iron Maiden, or we might have a special interview. I don't know yet. We'll find out. Let you know. See ya. Goodbye.
Demonio Vida Good Die Young.
What?
I don't know. Let's try to combine Demoni and an Iron Maiden reference.
All right.
That was bad. Demoni.
It was very bad.